yoga and mindfulness coaches do play a very important goal, when we are targeting towards any form of health goal. If I talk about my own self, for me, a lot of my weight gain is because of the stress eating I do. And in last 4 months, I have been able to lose 16 kgs of weight. I, honestly keep sharing it in the different episodes as well. One more connected point to it is when I was going through the naturopathy center where I, lost these 16 kgs, was they used to work on my mindfulness as well. I was taken through meditation, or I was helped to change the perspective with which I was thinking and the way I was approaching things. So yeah, it's been nearly over more than 1.5 months. I have stopped naturopathy, but yes, the benefits are still, coming to me, and I'm able to see those ripple effects being in picture, where now I become more conscious on what I'm, putting in my body, what I'm eating every day. And I would say I have not been a disciplined kid, I would say in that manner, a disciplined person to being really adhering to just superfoods out there. I go out, I do have a bit of junk food at times. I have been, relishing those pizzas and burgers as well. But yes, I know if I'm consuming those pizzas and burgers today, next 2 days, I need to manage my diet in a manner that those calories are balanced. I might be wrong in this approach, but that's something that's been working for me. I have not lost anything after I stopped my naturopathy, but yes, my weight is stabilized to the same level that losing those 16 kgs. So it's there, and it's been helping me. I would be again restarting my the whole aggressive way after a month or two again. But yes, I want to take some break because a plateau was achieved, and I've also wanted to focus on business a bit. But yeah,
And you said something very interesting. You said that now you go out and you eat sometimes pizza or something else. And I think this is I mean, it's very good because at the end of the day, you are making your own choices, but in a conscious manner. You are eating that pizza because you have decided you want to eat that pizza, but not because yes, it is only the only food to go for, or because you don't think about it. So you are able to rationalize and to make those food choices. And I think that is the important thing because, of course, I mean, none of us are like perfect. None of us are 100% on top of everything.
yeah.
But if we know when we do it and if we do it because of choice, I think that is perfectly fine. So congratulations, Pulkit.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Those 4 months at the naturopathy center really helped me realize this thing, and understand the importance of, as you rightly said, making the choice, because I still follow the same route from my home to office. I still have those shops and all those food joints on my way, which I used to stop every now and then before those 4 months. Like even just in yesterday only, an instance happened that after our BNI meeting, I had my breakfast, and it was the lunchtime primarily, and I didn't have any meeting further. It's like nearly 1.5 hour of trip between my home and the place where our BNI meeting is. And I was like, should I go to that usual my food joint where I go and have that junk food, or should I go back home and just have a snack a bit? And after that, because it was nearly about 2 hours after that, it was my dinner time. So I just have to, manage those 2 hours and I have something light. So if it would have been Pulkit 4 months before, he would have definitely gone to one of the junk food joints. We have got Pizza Hut, Subway, and all those things available. I decided not to go. I came home straight. I had a little bit of snacks at home. And then around my usual dinner time, I had a proper dinner balanced meal, which I usually have. And I was at a much more contented place at the night while, okay, there was a bit of a period where I was feeling hungry. And more than hungry, I was angry at that moment. But it really helped me. And now these small, small choices, I believe, are what are enabling me to at least maintain my weight, if not increase or decrease.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fantastic.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So, and this, brings me to my next question as well. Something I've personally integrated in my schedule is where probably around 4 days in a week, I go for some superfoods like fig. or large black raisins as well, which help in cleansing of gut comparatively better as per Ayurveda. I follow that and it's helping me. I go for papaya as one of the food, very first thing I will have in my breakfast or any other fruit for that matter. Pomegranate really is one of the another fruits that I often have. Now, it's since it's season, we have watermelons and other melons coming in picture. So those have been added to my diet. How can people really navigate identifying the right superfoods to fulfill the required nutrition for their body type? That's what I would like to understand.
That is very interesting and very difficult, really, to say because there is no an answer for that. And I think I go back a little bit to what I said before. I mean, there are general kind of guidelines. There are general, we know that vegetables and fruits are good for us. We know certain things in general, even the diets, the type of diets that we see around. And in fact, I was talking a little bit about that the other day in one of my meetings. And we hear a lot about the ketogenic diet. We hear a lot about the low carb diet or paleo diet or even fasting and things like that. And it is about, okay, is that good for me? And this is the question. We don't know if this is good for you unless we go deeper and deeper. Those things are general guidelines. They are very good and they have helped in general a lot of people. But what is good for me? I mean, first of all, we need to, if we work alone with ourselves, we need to listen to our body. This is the
Hmm.
thing. And I always recommend clients to do their own food diaries because when we eat things and we write down what we eat and what we experience, if we have any symptoms with foods, then we understand better what it could be good for us or things that are not that good for us. So this is what I think a person, an individual can do if we do it by ourselves. It's about a lot about listening to our body. And of course, understand, read, get informed about the general guidelines and try things and see if those are good for you. However, I would like to say that I would never go on an extreme diet by myself. And I've seen, for example, people, healthy people, going into diets like ketogenic diets, coming to clinic and having their cholesterol and triglyceride levels really, really on a 600% above the normal reference range. And that is not good for anyone. So when we talk about what is really, really, really good for me, I think we need to work with someone else or go deeper, understand our biochemistry, understand how our body works really, and help and work with the with a health professional. Work with doing. I don't mean that they are always necessary, but you can support with blood tests, stool tests, hormonal tests, urine tests, etc. So if you want to go deeper and be more specific, I think my recommendation is working with a professional, a health professional, and definitely listen to your body and work more intuitively.
There's no second doubt about that, Nuria, on this, that what a professional can help you your own might be able to navigate it, but you will navigate it after a lot of experiments. And it might be too late to, reverse things which you might have sort of impacted on yourself during the experimentations. There have been cases which have been covered in a lot of news where the keto diet or the intermittent fastings have gone the other way around for people. So even I totally recommend people, to go for a professional nutritionist. And our listeners can reach out to you. We will be, putting your contact details in the descriptions as well. But another point that a lot of with the advent of internet, digital media, and Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, we keep getting a lot of unrequested, not so requested suggestions. And something that really comes into the picture is supplements where which are sort of either at times the derived essence of natural foods or they're chemically synthesized supplements put into our bodies. And there are a lot of internationally acclaimed organizations. I'm not going to be taking the names, but they're just promoting shakes to be taken instead of consuming a proper fruit. They say that if you take one scoop of the shake in the morning, it's equivalent to having a papaya and an apple. What are your thoughts around that? Like, is it really beneficial, or what should people be actually choosing, a supplement or the actual natural food?
I love that question. I really like that question because as a nutritional therapist, I mean, for me, first of all, is food. And it's not just about food, it's about people learning and understanding what is good for them, what foods are good for them. It is also because it's not just about food, it's not about what we eat, but it's about how we eat as well.
Mhm.
To be able to, it's not about, okay, what do we put in our body? It's about, again, I go back to how our gut, how good our gut function is, for example, how good our liver function is, because then, if we work on the body system's function, we are going to promote a better absorption. So, if imagine, I mean, you eat the best food ever in the world, however, you have gut issues and you cannot absorb properly all the nutrients and the minerals, what's the point? Yeah. So, it is about the food, yes, but it is about again working on those body systems to optimize the function, to optimize the absorption of nutrients, to support your body, to support all the functions in your body.
Mhm.
So, first of all, but you ask about, okay, is it food, is it supplements? What do we need to do about it? So, yes, first of all, for me, it's about food. It's understanding what food, but how we can optimize the function of our body systems and especially absorption. In terms of, and that learning process is like you, for example, you've been working with a naturopath. You've learned a lot. You haven't, the naturopath, I don't know if you're taking or you took supplements at some point, but the naturopath didn't tell you, gave you some supplements and off you go. You went through a learning process and you understand now how to behave when you need to make a decision about food. And I think that is what is very, very important. So I think supplements have are very, very important for some people. For example, in my clinical practice, I use them sometimes to top up in terms of nutrients, but also to enhance certain functions. Yeah, because for example, we, and it's an example, we might have a genetic SNP or a genetic mutation by which we don't absorb certain things, or we need more of one nutrient to normalize or to support that function. So then is when I think supplementation becomes very, very good. But again, it is very targeted, it is very individual. For me, having, and I know you mentioned some of the brands over there that they promote nutrient supplementation intake. I personally work with professional brands, and it is about not taking on an ongoing basis, generally. I'm talking about general cases, yeah. Generally, not taking on an ongoing basis supplementation. As I said, top up or to support the body in different aspects at some point is good, but I don't advocate supplementation in the long term. Because if we advocate, or if I advocate supplementation in the long term, makes me think, okay, what's happening there in the body that is not working? What is that potential underlying factor that is not working? And I know some people take or like take supplementation and supplements because they are very stressed and because they are, cannot make or create a meal, even if it's just 10-minute meal. And instead they are going to reach for replacement meal between quotation marks, or whole kind of smoothie or something like that. Okay, sometimes perhaps we need to do that every now and then, or sometimes in very specific cases, but I think the body cannot rely on that. People cannot rely on that, because having is not just about having the nutrients in a capsule or a tablet or a smoothie. I mean, as I said before, I mean, our digestive system is there for a reason. Yeah. And we need to chew, we need to cook, especially to support, for example, the cephalic digestion, the part of the digestion that starts in the brain, to start secreting those enzymes, digestive enzymes, and to support that domino effect that the digestive enzymes need, because one digestive enzyme is triggering the secretion of another one, and this one is promoting the secretion of another one. So if we suppress that state, eventually we're going to suffer from, our body's going to suffer because we don't promote digestion properly and we don't support other body functions. So yeah, for me is first of all food. If we need, and going through all the process, not just food that we take for we get from a takeaway shop. Okay, sometimes we might need to have it, yeah, or we go to restaurants. That's fine. We want to socialize. We want to enjoy. That's fine, but not just on a day by day going to the takeaway shop because, as I mentioned before, we suppress, we cut off that important phase of digestion and that important phase and stage of digestion that is going to have an impact on the absorption and is going to have an impact on the nutrient status of our body.
You asked me if I have been taking any supplements during my naturopathy journey. Not during the naturopathy journey, but probably, if I remember correctly, around 8 years or 9 years back, I had sort of appointed a personal trainer to help me with my post-recovery physiotherapy for after my surgery, ACL reconstruction. And I was overweight because of that ACL ligament tear that happened while playing football. I had gained a lot of weight because after that, the ligament, when it was detected, doctors clearly told me that I cannot do any physical games out there, any activity. I had a very restricted, I would say, the physical movement in terms of sports, because I'm a person who was an avid sports person. And I used to be playing cricket, football, volleyball, all the possible sports out there. So after that, a lot of things were restricted. And though the trainer really helped me a lot with the stretches, the cardios, and all, eventually, after 2 months, he had put me on green tea extracts supplements. And he told me that, Pulkit, it's going to help you increase your metabolism and boost the way in the manner to lose your weight. And trust me, Nuria, within 3 days of taking those supplement tablets, it was one tablet a day, I started having episodes of high anxiety. Like I was not able to keep up with things. I told him that this is happening. He's like, no issues. It's not because of the tablet you're taking. It's normal. Your body is just going through that. And I was not somewhere or the other convinced. 2 days in a row, I didn't take those tablets and I was completely normal. I didn't feel anxious. I didn't feel any stress, anything. Then I took it for another 2 days and the similar things were repeating. So the point what I'm trying to, put across is, in cases of exception, yes, supplements are required. Like I worked with healthcare professionals earlier in my onset of my career, content career, where I was doing a lot of content for the organizations dealing with bariatric surgery. So now when you're going through bariatric surgery, supplements are the way to get the nutrition that your body needs. But giving supplements to a person on a daily basis whose normal digestion system is well in place, as you rightly mentioned, you are disrupting the natural flow of the body, and that body is going to react in some way or the other. Body has its way of making you listen to it, what we were talking about earlier. But yes, the sad part, and correct me if I'm wrong in saying this, the sad part in majority of globe is that there is no check on professionals prescribing supplements to their customers out there. A lot of people I see today out there have been appointed by these brands as the so-called healthcare professionals or nutritionists, and they have been prescribing their shakes or XYZ things outright and center without no checks in place. So that's something that really scares me out. And I believe there should be some checks coming in place where people's lives can be saved.
Yeah, and I'm pleased that you mentioned your example as well, because this is exactly what it can happen. And the green tea extract, yes, exactly. It's about not, because this is the thing. We've used green tea extract with a lot of people very successfully as well, but it's not for everybody.
Yep.
Or that specific supplement, it wasn't for you. Perhaps you take another one. I don't know if that was caffeine wasn't taken away, or I don't know. But perhaps if you try another type of supplement, it could have been good for you. So it really, really depends on the person. It really depends on the need. So yes, just giving, okay, those supplements for everybody. I agree. I mean, it has to be very personalized as well. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, because I think I feel very passionate about in that sense. When I finish working with all my clients, I mean, the first recommendation is, okay, don't take, if we have been working with supplements, it's about don't take those supplements for more than 2 months. And if you're not supervised and if there's not a health professional supervision, because it could be detrimental in some cases. Absolutely.
You also mentioned about menopause and women in the age group of 40s and 50s are either going through the menopause or just on the onset of menopause or have been through menopause. What are the food that they should be consuming at that time to help them navigate the path of menopause at a better management of their menopause?
Yeah, yeah. Again, good question. I mean, well, first of all, to understand, you said either they have gone through menopause or after menopause or during menopause. And we need, first of all, we need to understand that, I mean, what happens during menopause, and I'm considering when I say menopause, I refer to perimenopause, menopause, which is a moment in time, which is 12 months after the last period, and then postmenopause. So, and that can last 10 years or more. So it depends on the states, if it's perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause. It is about, again, understanding what is happening in those bodies, what is happening in the life of those women, because not every woman might have a presentation of symptoms during menopause. In fact, I was reading about some statistics a few weeks ago, and apparently 25% of women don't have any symptom at all when they go through this period of hormonal transition. And what I think it is very interesting is to look at, okay, why do we want to have some interventions here during this stage in life? And that for me, there are two reasons or main reasons. One is, yes, and women want to, if they have symptoms, menopausal symptoms, they really want to manage their menopausal symptoms. However, there is no one food or various foods. It's not about what foods or herbs or supplements can help us. And I will go more into that in a minute. The other reason to support our bodies and our health during the hormonal transition is not just to manage our symptoms, but also to minimize or to help minimizing the risks of potential health issues after menopause, because we've seen that unfortunately, and due to the fluctuation of hormones and especially estrogen, women after menopause are more prone to have cardiovascular health issues or brain health challenges, or even things like osteoporosis, for example. So, among health challenges as well. So, it is about, first of all, we need to understand why we want to support our health. So, it's symptoms and minimizing any potential risks after menopause. But also, it is about when we have especially challenging menopauses, is because there has been something going on there in the last years, in the previous years, and even decades. So we need to look at those. And we need to look at, I think everything's taking me to the same point. With nutritional therapy, it's about looking at, okay, how your gut is working, how you are balancing your blood sugar levels. I mean, do you have any nutrient deficiencies? Do you have any food sensitivities? Do you have any stress episodes? Do we need to support those hormones then? So first is identify what are the issues, and then it is about what foods to do. But in general, it is about first, I mean, insulin, for example, is one of the aspects, and it's a hormone as well, but it's one of the aspects that regulating insulin or the performance of insulin tends to change after our menopause. And that is very much connected to blood sugar regulation. So definitely we need to have a mechanism regulate blood sugar levels to prevent that there could be some kind of insulin resistance, because we are more prone to becoming insulin resistant, which is the precursor or the door leading into diabetes eventually. And for example, to regulate our blood sugar levels, there are many things that we can do, including, and some of the most important things are having balanced meals with protein in all meals. And protein is super, super essential for this stage, because it's not just about balancing our hormones and our insulin and our glucose, but it's also about supporting our muscle mass, our bone mass. And we know that during this age as well, we tend to lose more muscle. So that is super, super important. We cannot go, and especially for vegetarian people or vegan people, it is about understanding how you can get that protein and the protein you need to ensure that you don't become deficient on that and then you start losing muscle mass. So it is a super wide topic, really, to tell you the truth. Another thing that can help as well in general, not for everybody. That's all. Everything I'm talking here is about general guidelines. It's about phytoestrogens. Phytoestrogens are very important, or could be very important also, because they are chemicals from plants that they can act like some estrogens that we produce in our body. So, and they are different, obviously, but they can attach the receptors of we have in the body, estrogen receptors. So they can kind of mimic the effect of the estrogens that we used to produce in the past. So phytoestrogenic food are very, very important. And we have it in things like, for example, flax seeds. We have it in things like fermented soy, or we have it in other fruits like apples, herbs like sage, for example. So yeah, phytoestrogenic food, I think it is very, very important as well.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for sharing that. And I hope it helps our listeners navigate the path of selecting the right food during their menopause.